The year is 1945. The peoples of the Allied nations in the world rejoice in celebration. Confetti rains down from rooftops. Marching bands line the streets of cities and courtyards, and masses of crowds gather, waving signs of liberation and peace. Soldiers return home from battle to their families and friends, to return to their place in the community and to join celebrating as the world is finally at peace. However, despite this celebration, thousands of miles away, past the Pacific Ocean to the desolate and remote islands of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, these islands lay as barren wastelands, as a mark of the catastrophic events that occurred on one day. One fateful day, the first 2 atomic bombs to ever be utilized against man were dropped.
It's 3 days apart.
3 days apart? Okay. Over 200,000 innocent Japanese victims were killed in an instant. In a flash, one as bright as the sun itself reduced these islands to nothing but ash and rubble. Some were killed instantly. However, others outside the kill zone, miles away, would suffer for weeks or months even. Radiation poisoning would give way to sickness and disease that would be carried down through generations, scarring this ethnicity of people and this nation of this event that they would never forget. My God, what have we done? This was a quote from Robert Lewis, the co-pilot of the Enola Gay, the vessel that dropped the bombs. It's no wonder that he was so torn up by regret, seeing that what they unleashed that day was not a tool, not a weapon, but an instrument of mass annihilation, indiscriminately destroying men, women, children, and soldiers alike, expanding the horizons of human-waged warfare from homicide to genocide to omnicide, and finally the death of all. Albert Einstein, the physicist, scientist, and genius, who actually contributed to the construction of these mechanisms and to the Manhattan Project, which delved into the construction of these monstrosities. He himself said, and I quote, "The unleashed power of the atom has changed everything in our mode of thinking, and thus we drift towards unparalleled catastrophe." He said this warning of not only the damage that could amount from unleashing these weapons, but the consequences that would be suffered from decades ahead, political, economic, and otherwise. And now let's fast forward to today. Now, in the world we live in, over 23,000 nuclear warheads are being honed on the planet, enough to destroy the world 7 times over. Now you might ask what we can do to combat such a threat to mankind in the world we live in. And I tell you, I believe there is something to be done, and there is a call to action to answer to. We have a duty as people and as a community united under a nation, not only a nation, but the leading superpower of all nations on the earth. We must refuse to possess such monstrosities and set an example for the rest of the world, that we are willing to step down in militaristic power to show and to display that there is hope to rid the world of these weapons, and to ensure that our children and our grandchildren and generations to come are not born into a society capable of destroying the very planet that we inhabit.